Well, support for survivors and victims is pouring in across the nation as the investigation into a possible motive intensifies. Jaclyn Schildkraut joins me now with more on all of this. She's an associate professor of criminal justice at the State University of York-Oswego. She's also a researcher analyzing mass shootings across the country. Thank you so much for joining us. It's heartbreaking to say that there are enough mass shootings now that you can analyze them and come up with themes and similarities. You have worked with communities across who have been affected by tragedies like this in the past. From your previous experience, what are their most critical needs at this point in time?
Right now, the most critical need is ensuring that all of these families know the whereabouts of their loved ones, and whatever the outcome may be, that reunification and notification process, especially with a scene that is, so vast and so many people impacted, is really the main priority. And then it's just ensuring that we get crisis mental health response in there immediately, really ensuring that the supports are available if and when people are ready to take advantage of them.
You've said that the impact of a mass shooting like this resembles an earthquake in a community, shaking those in the center, but impacting sort of outwards. We've seen the nation rally time and time again, yet there is still no big change in legislation. How does that cycle impact survivors of a tragedy like this to sort of live through a tragedy and then to see nothing change afterwards?
It's certainly not easy when we look at individuals who have lost their loved ones in very violent ways, with students and teachers and others, of course, outside of schools, who are seeing things in their lives that they should never have to see. And to witness this endless cycle of inaction is incredibly difficult. It, serves to sort of diminish their trauma and suggest that it's, we're not making any progress. So what did they go through all of this for?
I think as a member of the media, sometimes I wrestle with the coverage. Obviously, it was sort of nonstop yesterday. And you've written about the responsibility that the media has in times like this. How does the news cycle impact communities?
Absolutely. Certainly, obviously, there's a lot of intensive coverage right now, both from the media and from the public on this community. And a lot of survivors have really sort of likened this to grieving in a fishbowl. It's very intensive. There's cameras everywhere, microphones everywhere, people everywhere, at the scene, at reunification centers, at memorials that will pop up. And eventually everybody sort of moves on, but this community doesn't get to. And, while there's intensive coverage right now that may make them feel like they're in this fishbowl, the sort of sudden loss of that coverage can also make them feel very left behind.
And when you've looked at these communities after the media coverage is done and over with, after the fundraisers are done and over with, does the support remain? I was reading about how few child psychologists and psychiatrists there are in schools and social workers. Does the support dwindle with the attention?
It's really all going to depend on the resources that the community has. Certainly national attention moves on, but this community doesn't get to move on. They don't get to go back to normal. They now have to figure out how to exist in that new normal. And so a community such as this is really going to turn inwards on those existing tight-knit, ties to one another, and they'll figure out a way to provide the support for each other in the absence of that national attention.
Jaclyn, thank you very much.
Thank you.